up, guys? Dakota here, and welcome back to the Motors with Dak channel. Also, apologize if you guys hear a bunch of noise in the background. They're mowing the grass, so go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe for that. Today's video, ZX-4RR, and kind of, do I regret buying it after, the 3 or so weeks that I've had it? Also, I want to address kind of why I bought it, because I've been getting a lot of questions about that. So, first things first, this bike has about a little over 600 miles on it now, so it's due for its first service, which is one reason why I'm not riding it today. The second is I'm just tired. I just got back from a like a 24-hour road trip, basically, in a Bronco Raptor, which will be on my other channel, Driven Mad, my main channel. So if you guys are interested in that, check that out. So I'm just a little tired from doing all that. So what I figured we'd do is just talk about how the bike is. So after the 3-ish weeks that I've had it, put a little over 600 miles on it, do I regret it? Do I regret buying this bike? No, I don't. And that's for a couple of reasons. And, one, because the bike does what I wanted it to do, if that makes sense. So this kind of is going to tie into the why did I go from a Ninja 300 to this. So 5-6 years ago, I had a Ninja 300. Great bike, fantastic bike. It was my first street legal road bike, basically. Obviously, I've had dirt bikes I've been riding dirt bikes for like 15 years. But the Ninja 300 was my first road bike, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was super light, super playful, great bike to just kind of goof around town on, and just get a feel for sport bikes in general. Obviously, just like most people on Ninja 300s or R3s or CBR 300s, after a while you're like, well, I kind of want a bit more power. Because that thing would top out at like 115 with a tailwind going slightly downhill. So, ringing that thing out, and it took a little bit of time to get there. I ended up getting rid of that because I was buying my first new car. It was, and I didn't at the time. I was like, oh no, I don't want to have 2 payments. Looking back at it, it wouldn't have mattered, because now obviously I've got like 4 or 5. I've got like 5 cars outside right now, but that's beside the point. When I was looking at getting back into bikes, obviously it crossed my mind to get things like ZX-4RR, R6, Triumph 675. I was even looking at like Panigales or Ducati Super Sport S's, whatever. But then up until recently, I'd say within the last 4 months or so, maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe previous than that. But I got wind of this bike when they were saying that this bike was going to come to the U.S. And I was like, an inline 4, cool, revs to the moon, awesome, and supposedly 80 horsepower. So I was like, okay, well that sounds cool. Like, why would I not like that bike? It's smaller, it's a little bit lighter. Granted, it's not a lot lighter, but a little bit lighter than the bigger bikes. And I was like, that seems like a good move. Because again, let's compare the Ninja 300 for a second, the bike I came from, which ties into why I don't regret buying this bike. Ninja 300 made 34 horsepower to the wheels, 35 I think maybe. So this bike at 80 horsepower, way more power than the 300. But this bike, obviously, as we all know, as I've mentioned in my videos, this bike is detuned from the factory. So it only puts down about 52 wheel horsepower. But again, that's still almost 20 horsepower more than my Ninja 300, and it's not much heavier. So I was like, not a much heavier bike, still more power, still should be really playful and fun around the corners, which if you guys watch, that's why Ninja 300, 400s, and R3s are ripping it up on the track, because they can use 100% of the power 100% of the time. So that's kind of my thought process with this. Then you take into consideration, again, you do the tune, you gain 20 wheel horsepower and it goes to 70 horsepower, then again, it's still double the horsepower of my previous bike. So no matter how you slice it, it is faster. It accelerates faster, the top speed is higher even without the tune. So it is still an upgrade in the engine department, not to mention better brakes, better suspension, better infotainment, like the instrument cluster and things like that, and a completely different style of engine, inline 4 versus all that stuff. So in a lot of other ways, it is still an upgrade, aside from the fact that it is still faster than a Ninja 300. So when you're talking about going from 34 horsepower to 70 horsepower, that's still a big difference. And keep in mind, something like an R7 makes 66 horsepower. And I don't see as many people complaining about that. You went from an R6 that made like 120 horsepower, took 50 horsepower away in 2 cylinders, and then went ta-da! And yet people still buy plenty of R7s. And this bike with the tune would make the same amount of power as that bike. Again, revs to the moon, revs to like 15,000 RPM. So this is a little bit more R6 in ethos than the R7 is. Anyways, those are some of the reasons why I don't regret it, because it still is an improvement over what I previously had. And again, once I get bored with the power, then I do a tune, gain 20 horsepower, which I'm gonna do. I know you guys keep asking, I'm gonna do that. But then obviously that just means that the bike will be down for a little bit, for however long it takes me to send the ECU to them and them send it back to me with the tune. So it's better than my Ninja 300 in every way. Again, upgraded suspension, upgraded brakes, more power with the potential to make double the power. Then you add in the fact that because I'm, as you guys are watching, I'm on YouTube, it just made a bit more sense. Start a YouTube channel, but with a bike that's basically been the same for the past 10 years, no real hype or buzz around it, or start a motorcycle YouTube channel with a motorcycle that has a lot of hype and or buzz or controversy around it. Like, and then what's to say I can't continue to make those little jumps up, right? Like what's to say that I couldn't go from this bike to a ZX-6R or to R1, or just buy a completely different style of bike, like a naked bike, like an MT-09, Z900, whatever. Again, for me, that's why I don't regret it, because it's done everything that I expected it to. And it's still considerably faster than my 300, even before the tune. And then after the tune, it's going to be way faster than my 300 with a completely different style of engine. Anyways, guys, that's the reasoning. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know we weren't riding. That'll resume once we get this service taken care of and once I'm not feeling as tired. And we will be doing some off-road stuff. It's just our last video didn't go quite as planned because we couldn't work out like the comm setups.
1 o'clock. Huh? 1 o'clock. The reason the front just kind of does that. Huh? You don't have a what?
Still had a good time. Austin's bike is a little messed up. The plastics are a little bit goofed now, so we have to get some new ones of those. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. Also, check the link down below and use my link to get Insta360 X3 accessories, 2 of them, with the purchase of an X3. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.